just from what you've met about us in this last 45 minutes, if you had to pick a tattoo for each of us, what are we getting?
You're getting a firecracker.
All right, I'm in.
I feel like you're getting a wolf tattoo. I don't know why.
Right.
And you are getting some tattoos fixed. But what would you do? What would you do if you didn't need money? And whatever that answer is what you should be doing. Like where you are today is where you wanted to get to. This was your dream to get to this point. Every time you accomplish your goal, you realize your goal wasn't big enough. I just learned to be happy. I'm glad that I can tattoo. I'm glad that I can make things for people.
So welcome, Business Untitled, back at it again. David Barry, my co-stars, Mike Novogratz, Mel Carter over here. Today we have a really exciting guest with us. We're really grateful to have Keith McCurdy, known as Bang Bang. He is the tattoo guy. He's the tattoo guy. Celebrities, amazing stuff, crazy story. And we're going to get right into it. So Bang Bang, Keith, what do you like to be called?
I'm both.
Both, okay.
Bang, 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 Keith. I'm
Quick question. Give me a
Welcome.
famous hip-hop song with Bang Bang in it.
And there's a lot of them, but the Dre one comes to mind at first. I'm trying to think of the title of the name.
Young Buck.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Bang, bang, I shot you down.
Yeah. This is a Nancy Sinatra song.
That's
though.
the
This
Nancy
don't count.
Sinatra song.
I know it, but
Bang,
it was hip-hop.
Yeah.
They sampled it. It was a good song, though. You heard that song, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about the purpose of why we do this? You know, just to...
So, I'm from Flatbush. Well, I'm from Trinidad originally. Flatbush. And my story is I had to beat poverty twice to be able to be where I'm at today, right? Once in Trinidad, once here. And these two guys became my brothers, mentors for the last 7-8 years. And I was exposed to so much. Now I'm in a different world of things, see the world differently. And I was so excited about it. It was like, like every conversation, like I'm used to my friends where we just gossip and talk about who fucked who and who this, that. And the conversation was very different, right? So I got a lot of knowledge from them. And every week I would say, hey, can you meet this guy? Can you meet this guy? Because I was so excited to kind of share the information I got from them, right? One of the first times I met Mike, he sat down with me and went over my finances. And it was the first time anyone.
Hey, let me tell you, they
ever
weren't
did
pretty.
that.
That's not true. That's
Still
not
have
true. You
a
were doing
little
all right.
son.
We're doing all right.
And Dave, the same thing I get from both of them to this very day, right? And it was just like, how can we, just hand them talk and hand the things. I've been in college with them for the last 8 years. I talk different, I think different, everything. And it was like, how can I share this with my community instead of bringing everybody to Mike's house or Dave's house? Because Mike invites everyone to his house and meet them 5 seconds. Like, move into my house, literally. So we came up with the podcast, and it was like, we're just going to bring guys like yourself, share everyone's
So today you're
journey.
Professor Bang Bang.
And all right, give some information to my community and every community, because now we run into finance guys on the street who had a good upbringing and they're like, yo, I learned so much from your show. And we run into guys from the hood and they're like, yo, I learned so much. So it's just, that's the idea of it. And we have fun doing it.
Yeah. And I was going to say, just to start out, he's got a crazy story, a great story. I read a book. Your book was called
My Life in Ink.
My Life in Ink, right?
Oh, that's a dope fucking name.
And so often we ask people to start out just talking about that, and your story's really great. So why don't you just give our audience and us some background on where you came from and what got you here?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me. It's an honor. My story is like everybody's, it has an arc. Writing a book was kind of where I felt I was at the end of this journey from a similar situation you came from. It's how do I go from nothing to something? And the something goal was I wanted to open the best tattoo studio in the world. So I wrote a book at that moment when I did that, which was 10 years ago. And so now I'm not the same person. So it's interesting when I meet people who read my book or read it recently, they feel so much like they know me, but obviously that was 10 years of my career. I've done another 10 since writing it. So like my life has changed, my perspective has changed. And yeah, I mean, you know, to your point previously, like I'm happy to help people because people stepped up to help me. That's how
100%.
I learned everything through someone great I needed to know. And, you know, I might have something to teach if somebody has something to learn. So, my story's really, you know, single mother household. We grew up in like, you know, government housing in Delaware, and it's not nice there. It's not great. Like, it's still not nice. But I had, you know, family that loved me, and you know, we didn't have much, but I never felt it. You can't tell as a kid, like, oh, this is just reality.
Can't tell.
Yeah, you don't have perspective yet. So, you know, I grew up really happy. It wasn't tough until I got older and realized, like, oh shit, we had it tough, you know, and specifically my mother had it tough, right? And so, but you know, kind of normal kid you'd expect coming out of that situation. I did poorly in school. You know, my report card was like,
Yeah, mine too.
that's what it was like.
Yeah, that's a new one. I like that. How's your report card?
That's exactly, yeah. I was not one of the kids, you know? So,
He was one of the
All right, I was looking.
but, you know, I was friends with everybody, like always got along with people, even friends with teachers. And then there was people that I would really, you know, kind of butt hard against. And sometimes that could have even been an art teacher. And experiences like that where I really never actually felt that I loved art. So I had the ability. I was kind of the kid, young, who could draw, didn't really try. I didn't want to. I didn't need to. I already knew I could draw it before I drew it. So that was my maybe early ego, right? It's a little more humble today. But I never loved art until, you know, I was 18 years old. I wanted tattoos, but I couldn't afford them. Tattoos are expensive, you know? And I wanted good tattoos. I wanted great tattoos. So everybody knew who's
Not
best.
tattoos like mine. I got shitty tattoos.
I've seen worse. So I wanted great tattoos, and everybody kind of knows who the great tattoo guy is. This is weird kind of alt-world celebrity where your local tattoo artist is your local celebrity. Everybody knows that guy, you know? And so, you know, I couldn't afford that guy. So, you know, I worked to save money, got tattooed by him, and I wanted more tattoos. They're very addictive, and I certainly couldn't afford more. So I decided, like, I'm going to buy a tattoo kit. I'm going to teach myself, which, disclaimer, is not how you learn. You'll hurt people. You'll do a lot of things that are dangerous. So, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
And really soon after, got good enough to work in a studio. That studio wasn't pretty. It was outside of a trailer park in Delaware.
No fucking way.
I swear to God.
That's crazy.
Newcastle, Delaware. Minquadale is the name of the... Yeah, that's
Is it still
right
there,
there.
or is it done?
Nah, it's probably just like a smoke shop now. But I remember, like, yeah, I saw it all. Whatever you think of when you think trailer park, worse. And this is outside the tattoo shop. So that was my first experience. So I moved to New York City, you know, a year later. It's because I wanted to work in New York.
What year did you move here?
2006.
Oh, okay.
Nah, 2005.
Here's a little factoid for you. Close to 15% of housing in America is trailer parks.
Wow.
It's 1 in 7 houses in America is in a trailer park. You don't understand that until you go to the South.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy how many people grow up in, you know.
Yeah, that number is so baffling. Did I hear you right? 15%?
There are roughly 30 million trailers in America.
Wow. I did not know
I could be off by a little bit, but I think I'm pretty close.
So you got your way to New York.
I got to New York and no, I struggled to get a job. I started to get a job right away because I was pretty good for my age, and you know, I'm 19 years old at this time, and you know, nobody hired me. And then finally, you know, like day 7 of walking New York City to walk into tattoo shops with my portfolio in hand, I got a job at this place called Crazy Fantasy Tattoo on West 4th Street. 6th Ave. It's like sex shop, tattoo shop, papaya dog, repeat.
Yeah.
Like for 2 blocks.
Yeah.
So that's where I worked, you know. And
Wait, what was the name of this? Where was the shop?
Crazy Fantasy. It was on West 4th and 6th Ave. It's on 6th Ave.
I got a tattoo there.
Yeah, I probably did one of your bad tattoos, bro. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
believe
where is
it. Did you get it at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, it was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I got this tattoo there like
believe that.
around that time.
I
Was that you?
believe that. I hope not.
I swear to God, it was right next to the sex shop, like right down there by Papayas, the sex shop that's been there for 30 years.
That's not me.
And it was 2 a.m.
Hell, you could almost have some gold
That
on
looks
your arm.
like maybe it
Damn,
was
that would
made
have been
by-
classic.
I could name them. But what year did you get it?
Right around that time somewhere, like 2008,
So
like somewhere around there.
there was some guys out there. One was, Catan. Catan was this like Caribbean Jamaican dude, long dreads. He'd have joints hiding in his hair, hacky sacking outside. There was a guy who's 7 foot tall named Tree. You're too damn tall to play to tattoo. You should be playing basketball. There was like some dudes from Mexico that would
Are they
only
always
speak
characters?
Spanish.
Are
Oh
tattoo
my
artists
God.
all characters?
Oh my God!
I just remember it being so expensive, because it was like, Soho prices, Village prices, 2 a.m. That is so bizarre.
What they hit you with?
I can't even remember.
It was up there though.
It was up. I mean, I was a kid, so it was like
It felt up there.
felt up there.
So I worked in that area, for I don't know, like 3 years, and that's where I met people that kind of helped, steer my career into a direction of, people learn my name, press, those kinds of things. I met Rihanna there,
Wow.
in 2007.
At Crazy
She walked
Fantasy?
into the tattoo shop. This was like same time that like Umbrella dropped. So she wasn't who we know now.
Right.
She still was
Of
a big
course,
deal
but,
then.
But in New York,
Yeah.
everybody's
Yeah,
a singer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, you got shit on the radio. That's what's up. Like that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
She wasn't what
Rihanna.
she is today.
Yeah.
So it's big. But I think she appreciated from what she's told me. She wrote the foreword of my book. What she's told me is like, yeah, she just loved that I was real. Like, I'm no bullshit when we're talking about tattoos. Like, and I'm really strongly opinionated on, anything design.
Yep.
So I have a strong opinion. That's grown over time. But even young, like, this is going to look good. This is going to look terrible, and why? So I think people appreciate the feedback, and I think she did. So
How did that go down with Rihanna for her first tattoo?
She walked into
Was
a
it
tattoo.
Umbrella?
Nah. She tattooed an umbrella on me years later, though.
No way.
Swear to
Get the
God.
fuck
Swear to God.
outta here.
Another story.
All right, we got to get that
I wrote
story.
a book.
It's in the book, Mel. Read the book. Read the book.
Read the book.
No, I'll tell you that story. But she walked into another tattoo shop. There's like 5-6 tattoo shops on that block. I walked into another one to get a piercing, and asked the guy, who was one of my best friends, his name's Joe Snake, shout out Joe. She asked who the best tattoo artist was. And he said it was me, even though I worked like 3 doors down. So he walked her over, we met, yada yada. In walks like 5, like 6 foot tall, beautiful Caribbean women. And I don't know who the singer is. I don't know who anybody is. So I just meet them all and say, hi, what's up? Who's getting tattooed? These two. Okay, so Rhea and Melissa, best friend. And they want to get it at the same time. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do yours, my boy will do yours, and we'll, same time. And then she came in with an interviewer, and that's when I was like, oh shit, cool, but stop moving. So I've known her for years since. This was, almost 10 years ago.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
We got to get the umbrella story real quick, man.
The umbrella story?
Yeah.
I used to ask celebrities to tattoo me or like people I thought were cool, and like, I'll trade you.
But what if
So
they just can't?
No, they can't. Some of them can't, bro. I'll tell you what. But you're gonna get a tattoo
Yeah.
no matter what. It just doesn't matter if you're gonna get a good one.
Yeah.
So, I just
How many do you have now?
I don't know.
You're not tattoo Stiggy
No
yet.
clue. Nah, I'm not gonna get there. Too pretty.
Tattoo Stiggy was an ugly man. He was tattooed from literally his entire body. It was Guinness Book of World Records for most tattoos on his body.
Somebody's got to be that guy, though.
What's your thoughts about that? I think it's bizarre.
There's a lane for that. So
Yeah.
if you want
Lane
to
for
be in that lane, be in that lane.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm with. I don't care what people do to themselves,
Yeah.
man. That's-
How'd you make the jump? Like, what allowed you to make the jump from working at other places to saying like I'm going to open my own place?
Yeah, I think when my peers were going out drinking after work, I was going home to rest and prepare. Like that shit made the difference. And if somebody worked 4 days, like, well, I'll work 7. And I did the math on, if I work 12 hours instead of 8 and I work 6 or 7 instead of 5, like how fast can I accelerate? You know, how much work can I get done?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that was really the secret.
Yeah, that's like a common theme, right?
We've had
that
probably
we have
25
here.
entrepreneurs, and 25 out of 25, it's the grind.
Yeah, it's embracing the grind.
Hard work equals success.
That's right.
It's just math. Like,
Yeah.
it simply put. And then, yeah, I'm not any better at tattooing, excuse me, than anybody else when I start. So like, how do I get there? How do I get to the place these guys I look up to are at? Like, and this is literally just like I'm going to outwork everyone, and I will do it for a very long time. And I did, but you'll burn yourself out, so you got to like take care of yourself too.
How did you get the startup money to start your own shop? Or did you save? Or did you have investors? Or like, how did that happen?
Actually, my first store wasn't really my store. I opened it with a family member. It's like my dad, you know, like I'd see my dads every other weekend growing up, that kind of thing. He lived in New York. I lived in Delaware. And, you know, we had distant but close relationship. You know, you got one dad, so you take the one you got.
Yeah.
You know, so I moved to New York. You know, I worked for a few years. I, you know, kind of succeeded at tattooing. My dad came to me, was like, hey, you know, what do you think about opening a tattoo shop? I'll invest in it. Like, cool. So yeah, I'll kill it. I know I outwork everybody. I know my tattoos are some of the best in the world, and I know I'm half my peers' age. So because I had just worked so hard so young. The great tattoo artists are mid-late 30s, 40s. You know, it takes a long time to get great at tattooing, especially years ago when the education was practically non-existent. So, you know, my couple things were like, yeah, I want to, you know, I got to have the final call. It's got to feel like me. We'll put my name on the door and do it. And it just didn't work. And it wasn't from a consumer place. It wasn't like a lack of customers at all. It was our relationship didn't work as being that, you know, and I don't really go deep into it, but, you know, it was crazy shit. And I'm glad that I stepped up and said, like, I'm not happy. I don't want to do it anymore. And decided I'm going to open my own thing. When I did that, it was, I mean, I had help from my friends because I didn't know how to start an LLC at that time. You know, I had no idea how you get your business license or insurance or, you know, workers' comp or, you know, do your filings or tax withholdings. I didn't know how to do any of this, you know? So it was like asking anybody I know who has a head on their shoulders, like, what do you know? How do you know? What do you know about, you know? I didn't know how to negotiate a lease. I didn't know how to find a lawyer that's familiar with, you know, New York contracts and how to negotiate that. So I had help from so many people and couldn't have done it without them. So, you know, from the money standpoint, my first store wasn't expensive, you know, so it wasn't impossible. And yeah, I don't have investors or anything like that in my tattoo company.
That's dope.
Did you set out to build a brand from the jump, or did you kind of iterate into that as you saw what was going on?
I actually started as, when I was young, there was a handful of tattoo artists globally that I knew their name. These guys' names were Shane O'Neill and Paul Booth and Bob Terrell and Robert Hernandez and Tom Renshaw, and these were people's names.
Is that guy Cartoon one of them?
Cartoon was one I learned about later. But when I was young, Cartoon stayed out of tattoo culture and tattoo magazines. So my first exposure to global tattoo culture was in the magazines. So I didn't learn about Cartoon or Scott Campbell, guys that like stayed out of it and were like, no, I'm going to play my own game this way, out of this community, and pave my own path. They, you know, from a marketing standpoint, they probably two that did it differently. But yeah, Cartoon's the OG.
That was my dream to get a tattoo from Cartoon until I found out it was like $20,000 a tattoo.
Joey Pang.
I was like, wait. It was, I think 50 Cent and Eminem, that was their era of like everybody wanted a cartoon. I'm in music before anything else. So it was like, have you guys heard of Cartoon?
I haven't.
See?
I'm a Joey Pang guy.
Yeah, Cartoon's the guy, man.
Wow, that's pretty
he's still
dope.
the dude.
Yeah, because it was like
He'll do things you don't even know he did though, because he does so much stuff. Like he did like the I think the Clippers or the Kings jersey.
No
Like the
fucking
numbers
way.
were all like
Wait,
Gothic
what?
Roman. Yeah, it was sick.
Like the actual jersey?
Absolutely. Yeah,
It's
it was sick.
crazy.
It's like all the fonts.
Shout out
Like,
to him,
yeah.
man.
And the NBA for, being smart and letting an artist do some dope shit.
Yeah.
So you had a vision, but it started to like
So
unfold.
my point was these guys were names that I knew. And so I thought Keith McCurdy's not very easy to remember. And my first experiences with tattooing was like, you ask somebody, like, who did your tattoo? They'll be like, oh, Mike who works at this place down the street. You go there, like, who's Mike? Is Mike here? Like, Mike hasn't been here for years. How you going to find Mike?
Yeah.
So, like, I wanted to have a name that if anybody heard, they could remember, and I wanted to have a name that you could Google and find me. So one of my first teachers' name was Needles. And that's
A lot of
really tough name to Google. And I knew that really young. How are you going to find this guy? I just told you his name. Let's play a game. Try to find him. It'll never happen. You can't find this guy because his name isn't Googleable. This is important.
Yep.
So memorable, Googleable. There are instances where people beat that, obviously, with talent. I think of The Weeknd. That's when I first heard that name, I was like, how am I ever going to find this guy? It's a terrible name. But of course, we all but now we all know who The Weeknd is, right?
Yeah.
So obviously it's not, there's an exception.
That was really smart on your end.
I just knew I wanted people to remember my name. So, and then that turned into, well, since my name is so far from a name, and people know the name Bang Bang, I'm going to make this into a brand. I'm going to put this on my front of my store. This is the name of my store. I'm going to withdraw myself like publicly as much as I can so that my company is famous. No longer like I'm a well-known tattoo artist, so people know that name. Now they know that brand, which is more valuable. And then I get to, like watch artists grow on this platform that they'll help build and other artists have built before them. And it's cool to watch everybody's success. Like I like that.
How many artists do you have now working for you?
30-ish, kind of always hovers around 30.
And the ethos to be a Bang Bang tattoo
You got to
master?
Yeah. I mean, just great, unique, and a pleasure. So like some people are great at tattooing and suck at being a person. So like
You still do the interview processes yourself, or
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So they
everything.
sit down with you.
Yeah.
How many out of 10? How many make it that you sit down with?
0.1. Nah, probably not. I sit down with a lot of artists because I want to also meet artists, and I want to. Yeah, I'm like a team guy. I'm not like me. I'm like. I want to be around and working with as many talented people as possible, and like, yeah, my ego can handle that.
Yeah.
Like, I love watching great people, and I always want to find people who can do things I can't do. If you can do something better than me, that's a win, because now we can work together, and you can do that thing, and I'll do what I'm great at.
Huge. That's huge, important stuff too, right? What I've always been impressed about, like, in having. Any of you guys have Bang Bang tattoos, or like from? I mean,
Not yet.
he didn't do them, but
Let's
I got two by Mr. K there. Shout out to Mr. K.
Holla. Killer.
Killer, great. And but what I've always been amazed with at Bang Bang too is it's got all this big reputation, and tattoo parlors are like funny places. They can be a little off-putting. They can be a little grungy. They can just be a lot of things. And your place, it's like. It's clean, it's stylish, and from the moment you get in there, it's like welcoming. Even though whether you have an appointment, you don't, you're treated like a human. And I noticed that from the minute I got in there, where they're inclusive in this way, right? It's not like, oh, you're not cool enough to be here. You're not this. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because the first time I went to Smith Street Tattoos, shout out Smith Street. I love Smith Street Tattoos. But the first time I went there, I was a tattoo novice, and I'm looking on the wall, and I break out my phone to take a picture. I was going to send it to either my brother or my wife to say, what do you think? And it was like breaking the cardinal rule. I almost got beaten up. I put that goddamn camera. They're screaming at me. I'm like,
No, honestly, I'm actually happy to hear you say that, because every experience I've had in a tattoo shop has been like that. You go there and you almost feel like, hey, sir, please, can you? And they're like, you wait in line. Like, it's like the most bizarre shit. And especially if it's the guy that's good, he's like not even talking to you. And he's not even that fucking good, because look at me. I don't want to say his name, but it's like it's that experience of like
I got to give Smith Street some props though, because they had a culture. It was a funny culture, and they got their own style.
yeah,
and,
but they probably Googled you. Like, oh shit,
Well,
don't fuck that up.
But in any event, they're weird places generally, and
yes,
I
yes.
figure that's intentional, or that's like your personality coming through in terms of how you're handling your people.
Well, I'll start with Smith Street. There's a lot of traditional tattoo studios around America, which is why I didn't want to open one. And why I didn't want to be a traditional tattoo artist. There's a lot of people who do that well. Like, I don't need to do that. You're doing it well. There's no need for me to add to that.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, they've had 100 years of practice in this shit. So, it's going to be good. So for me, I'm like, all right, how can I flip it? What would I change about tattooing? So back to Smith Street, though, they are the best of that to me. So, there's nothing wrong with those traditional tattoo studios. They're the best there is, it's in my eyes. But for me, it was like I always wanted to try things that I was taught or had seen that I thought impossible. So when I saw realism specifically in tattooing when I was young, that I couldn't understand how that picture could be made in skin with needles. Incomprehensible to me.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that. My experiences in tattoo shops when I was young were the same thing. What do you want, kid? That's stupid. Stuff like that. And I knew I didn't want to open a store that treated people that way. I understood very early on that tattooing is a service industry. A service.
Yeah.
So sure, we're talented. Yeah, sure, you want something from us, but you're the boss. And we're providing a service. So, and we also understand, people are coming in nervous. There's often an emotional reason somebody wants a tattoo. Sometimes it's to decorate themselves or because it's dope, but sometimes there's a very real emotional reason somebody wants a tattoo. So they're vulnerable, and tattoos for women didn't exist. 10 years ago, tried to think of a tattoo studio that existed that was welcoming or accommodating to women. It was very masculine tattooing, or the best guys in the world were making this, male dominant or aggressive style of things, or, skulls and crossbones type stuff, biker culture when I first entered tattooing. So just different. So I wanted to flip everything upside down when I made a store, and it's been cool to watch over 10 years the influence that's had around the world on tattoo studios. Yeah. Now, I see tattoo studios that are, minimal, clean, black and white, and I'm like, oh, all right.
Well done.
You get it. I appreciate it. But Virgil famously said about copycats, or people replicating. It's if they can succeed off of it and you can succeed off of it, you've done something really great. Yeah. So if you've done something so well that someone else can make a living off that thing, that's beautiful. Yeah. So that's kind of the goal. It's how do I influence tattooing for the better? Yeah.
Yeah. Even how popular tattoos are today versus how they were 20 years ago, right? What the mentality around them is completely different. And I'm sure if you unpack that, what are some of the major things or influences that you think switched that, that people think of them differently, and how important was the Cara Delevingne? Yeah, and I was going to bring up he did the Cara Delevingne lion on her finger, right, which is a really famous tattoo. You know the one, right? How was that something that was one of those moments that it just shifted the way people look at tattoos, or was it more that made you very well known and was famous for fashion, or what do you think about that?
When I first opened Bang Bang Tattoo in 2014, the goal, our mission statement was to bridge the gap between fashion and tattoo. Because tattoo is in the gutter, right? Fashion's through the roof. And fashion and tattoo really, actually, I've learned, tattooing actually exists at the intersection of fashion and beauty, right? Two things that are widely respected, and then, tattoo's kind of the outcast. Tattoo shop I used to work in sold pipes and bongs and was attached to a sex shop. It's this taboo culture. Yeah. It's gas station of art world, and so I think that with people of influence, like Cara, who you mentioned, or Rihanna, or famously Angelina Jolie was kind of the it girl and used to get tattoos. Like that was even before I opened a store. So there's been like a lot of things that have bridged that gap, and we tried to make sure we do our press with purpose to make sure it's placed in a fashion forward environment or a fashion narrative environment to try to like what's the style of tattooing that's being done. So different than the tattoo scene, more into fashion culture. And so I think there's been so many people that have helped bridge that, where tattoos became a story. What's this tattoo this person got? Is the same way as like, what's this dress she wore? So people want the story behind that for the people of influence. And it's been a slow, but I should say, even in the 90s, that was starting, where it was like, okay, more people were getting tattooed. It's a natural trajectory. Tattooing shouldn't be in the gutter. It's like the oldest, most sacred art form. And
do you think the tattoo industry is like growing, or it's like flat, or it's declining? Just like as Mike no longer gets a tattoo, is there 3 kids to replace him?
Yeah, I think, TBD always, right? But historically, it's always been on the rise. So
It certainly feels like
Yeah,
I just see
it
more
feels
and more
like it.
tattoos.
You see
When
more and more
we got
tattoos.
I got my first tattoo the day we graduated college from
It was on
Tattoo
your
Studio.
ass, right? Can you tell
Right
us
on my
that?
hip. Now it looks like a blob,
Your
unfortunately.
hip or your ass?
Right on my hip. And it was a Wile
naked?
Wile E. Coyote.
You got naked?
Easy, buddy. Easy.
nobody gets Wiley on their hip. That sounds like an ass tattoo.
And so, but no one had tattoos back then. And we got it because George Shultz, he was a famous Princetonian. He was the Secretary of State. And it turned out he was like 80 years old. And they said, oh, he had a tattoo on his ass. And so we were all drunk. We're driving in North Plainfield, New Jersey, this shitty little town in New Jersey, where Tattoo Stiggy was in the Guinness Book of World Records for most tattoos lived. One of my roommates was from there. And so we all got these tattoos. And I remember we went to Greece, and, in European, they got these open showers, and we're in my buddy's bathroom, and his dad walks in, and he sees his son with a tattoo, and he said, "What, fucking you a porn star?" Like, no one had tattoos, porn stars and sailors. And literally 10 years later, by mid-90s, tattoos were showing up everywhere. And there was like this jump step in it. I got my really second tattoo 10 years ago. I was 49, I wanted a dragon. And we flew to Hong Kong. My friend said, if you're going to get a dragon, there's one person in the world that should do the dragon, a woman named Joey Pang. So I literally fly to Hong Kong to get a Joey Pang dragon. And it was impossible to get an appointment. He was a rich guy. He got me the appointment, knocked someone else out. We showed up, and I said, Joey, I want a dragon about this big, right? She said, that's not a dragon, that's a worm. She would only do it if I got it from the crack of my butt to the top of my neck. And I was like, I'm 50 years old. I'm going to look like an idiot with a giant full back tattoo. I ain't doing no worm. And so she wouldn't do it. So my son, who was 16 at the time, was a very quick thinker. He said, hey, I'll take some cherry blossoms. And so she cherry blossom freestyled on his chest. Beautiful tattoo. And my daughters were yelling, you can't let him get it till he's 16 years old. We were like, it's Joey Pang. Joey was that good. She had brush stroke. You got to look her up one. She was one of the most spectacular tattooers I've ever seen. And the coda of the story is about 4 months later, she just disappeared. And there were guys with half tattoos, 3/4 tattoos. These dragons take 7-8 times. And just disappeared, never to be seen again.
How long ago was that?
That was 2015.
No one has seen this woman
I
since.
left her. She had a baby. Maybe it was postpartum depression. Who knows what? Maybe the Yakuza took her or the triads. But gone.
She's not.
You can still find her stuff online. It's spectacular.
And since 2015, no one has seen
No
her.
one has seen Joey Pang. There could be a documentary we do.
That is a fucking crazy
Anyway.
thing
So
ever.
That's crazy.
one of the things I was going to say, but you guys have in common is you kind of graduated high school, but kind of really got an honorary degree, right? Because you were like,
And not kind
right?
of.
Yeah, right. Well,
I
you
kicked
got an
out of high
honorary
school
degree.
twice.
Yeah, and wound up at
gotta-
a prep school, right? But
So-
but
yeah,
I
so-
think that's interesting. So we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, what does college mean? How do you
Yeah.
make it without that? And we get
So,
into that.
It's bizarre. I don't even think they know this. I dropped out of school in Trinidad in the 4th grade. Literally just decided not to go back. Didn't go back to school till I moved here. and that was the 7th grade, which was like a 3-year gap. Got kicked out of the 7th grade. Went to a different school for 8th grade. Got kicked out of that. Somehow managed to finesse my way into high school. Got kicked out of the 9th grade. Then got kicked out of 10th grade. I was like, look, I'm tired of being kicked out. I'm not going back.
Over it.
And I didn't get an honorary degree or GED.
Not yet.
You know
not
what?
yet.
I
That's
like
true.
that. Not
Yeah.
yet. Not yet.
Somebody out there is going to smarten up.
Somebody please give me an honorary degree.
We're going to give you a tutor. You're going to earn your GED.
So you want to tell us about that, and then
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, when I was young, I did bad in school. So, similarly, I failed 7th grade. I'd do it again. I got kicked out of 9th grade. I got kicked out of 11th grade, But, my dad, kind of made enough money. He's like, I'm going to pay for all this missed parenting. I'm going to send you to boarding school.
Yeah.
So I went to all boys boarding school in Connecticut for high school. So I got kicked out of that year 1 and year 3. But that's the school that gave me an honorary diploma. And actually, it was a great experience, and I love them and love what they do. It's called South Kent. It's an all boys school.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, and they've sent some kids to the NBA, like big sports. There's 100 kids, and still they like sent kids as professional athletes. They do a good job. Anyway, it was good for me to have an all boys school because I liked girls more than I liked school. So didn't have that option. And even though it was great for me, I managed to get myself kicked out a couple times. But years later, 10 years later, I got an honorary diploma.
Yeah. Did something click for you at did you always believe you were going to be something big and great, or was there a time where it could have gone either way? Did that what was like a defining moment where you started to believe in yourself?
Well, I should say that I don't think I'm something big and great. Actually, daily feels like I haven't accomplished anything. So that's just how it feels, It's for other people to say if you accomplish something great or not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't feel it.
Bravo.
I just try.
Is that called imposter syndrome somewhat?
No,
Or no?
it's not. It's
No?
not. It's called actually gentle humility. It is. It's like I always say this all the time. It drives me crazy when people are bragging. I was like, "You're not supposed to brag. You got to marry someone who brags for you." my father has never. My father was an amazing football player. He was lineman of the year in college football. Not once, he's 87 years old, big smile on his face, did he ever brag about his football prowess or his wrestling prowess. He didn't have to because my mother bragged all the time for him.
I like when I meet somebody, I'm like, oh, this person's great. And then I find out that they do something great. I become a fan of what they do.
Yeah.
So I didn't Google any of y'all. I'll find out later. Now that I'm interested, I'm going to find out what you do, what you've done. I'll learn more about what you do. I want to get to know who you are.
He's a great
first.
tap dancer. Well, you're dressed like a tap dancer.
What's up with this guy?
I was thinking you were going hooping.
He thought you were going to aerobics. He thought you were doing aerobics.
I just dress up to look like I went to the gym every day.
It's working. It's working.
What was the moment you felt like you made it, though? Like financially?
I'm telling you, I don't feel like I made it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm right there with you.
I don't feel that ever. And I actually don't think there's a such thing because Elon and Bezos are still trying to make money. So I actually think that humans have a little bit of a sickness of more. More. And remember, there was once upon a time, like where you are today is where you wanted to get to.
Yeah.
This was your dream to get to this point. And then, you'll learn that, my dream wasn't that big because I accomplished it. So I'm going to have a bigger dream. I'm going to try to get there. And every time you accomplish your goal, you realize your goal wasn't big enough. And so this kind of sickness of more, I've just learned to be happy. And I'm glad that I can tattoo. I'm glad that I can make things for people. There's no amount of money. Actually, this is really important. More money doesn't equal more happy. So there's an amount of money you need to be comfortable and be able to make sure your medical bills are set, or if you get hit by a car, you're going to be all right. Everybody's got a different number there based on whatever their lifestyle is or what their family's needs are. If you have kids, obviously that's more. You want more security, but you just want to be able to do your work. And more money, more problems.
There are a lot of studies
true.
actually that show happiness once you hit that critical needs, and that critical needs in the U.S. is around $65,000 now. but if you have kids,
Depends
it's
on
all
what market,
yeah, where you
yeah.
live.
Yeah.
But roughly, per capita, the median income of America. Once you hit that, more money, no more happiness.
You know what's crazy? I actually learned this from him. I'm like, I don't know how it is with you, but I'll tell you with me. Every other day I'm broke in my mind. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is the day I go back to Flatbush, maybe even Trinidad. Are they going to take me back? Like, and just stress myself, which I'm doing much better. Shout out to Claire Johnson. I'm doing much better because I'm like, I'm like just learning. But at one part of my life, like recently, it's just like, I'm just worried, so worried. And I was like, I got to get really rich, Mike. Like, and he was like, think about it. What have you been able to not do? You travel the world, you live in a beautiful place, you use one of my Hamptons homes every time you want. Like there's nothing you can't do, like financially. Maybe I'm not as grateful as I think because what he is saying is right? Like there's nothing, I mean, I can't buy a jet, but there's nothing financially that I can't do, that I haven't been able to do over the last 10 years. And that was like such a moment for me. And every time I'm like really stressed on like financial shit or like where I need to be, I'm like, man, I could get up and take a vacation tomorrow. I could get up and my family is good. Like I want to be in a better space to create more opportunities and have more chips on the table. But there's not really much I haven't been able to do. And I'm really thankful for that.
But you'll always, bro, when you get to wherever you're thinking you need to get to, you're going to have the same feeling. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. When we're like that, because where we come from. And what I'm saying to you is, are you actually scared to lose it all?
100%. Yes.
Are you?
Yeah,
Why? You got out of that. I'm not scared of it.
I'm not either.
I've had nothing, and I've had more than I need. So like, I'm not scared.
For me,
to lose
it's more
it all.
so my family.
Yeah, but you'll come right back.
I had just as much fun as a 23-year-old, flight school candidate in Fort Rucker, Alabama. We made $1,500 a month after tax. That was our paycheck. I remember $18,000 a year. And we're running around thinking we're Tom Cruise in Top Gun. And that year, me and Pat Tierney running around was as much fun as any year I've ever had.
Do you remember when $20 was awesome? We were like, man, this changed my night. You remember that? $20 used to change a night. Like, so it's all good. Like, it was kind of the best.
So I guess this question is for you guys, right? Because literally I get so much motivation from you guys, especially work, right? Like, I got to say this because it's kind of cool. Because I'm working on something right now, I just canceled going to a very big country to meet with a very important president. But my work was more important. I got to get some shit done. But I watched these two. He's more laid back, chill. But they both have enough where they can retire, chill, not have a problem in the world. So why do you guys keep going the way you do? You're a lot more zen than him. He operates in chaos. I'm more like him. Want to be more like you. Why is that? Because you could retire tomorrow and live happy. You can too.
For me, it's never been about the, for what Bang's saying, it's like it's not about the money. It's about the creative product. It's about what am I engaging in. That's how my mind works. Like whether it's a building, a project, backing somebody that's got a cool idea, invest. So like my, in a sense, creative canvas in that context, right, isn't necessarily like the art of tattooing, right? It's more like building a project, building a business. And so I know it sounds crazy, but I don't really look at the money like that. It's just like I'm focused on the result. I'm focused on my people, on what we're doing, and like bringing stuff that needs to be brought to the world. I think you said it before too. Like capitalism is great. It's the only thing we got, but it's shitty too. Like there's too much like hunger and raw desire for just like money, or even if you're cutting corners and things like that. So that means like product suffers, buildings suffer, art suffers, food supply suffer. I mean, you could go to endless places with it. And so for me, I feel this like passion / responsibility to like do the right thing. I know I have these talents. I have a lot of people around me that work like that and believe in me believe in what those ideas are. And so, like, I'm grateful to be in that spot and take that responsibility.
That's a good answer.
To heart.
And you are creative in the things you do. You, Mr. Novogratz, are creative.
It's impact. You want to have impact in the world, right? You're given all
But
these...
your business is just more really financial. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I would tell you that I spend 30% of my time on philanthropy.
No,
and criminal
which
justice.
100% you do. But I'm just talking about like the working aspect of it. Like,
But that's
you
a
can
lot of-
retire
that-
tomorrow.
I could have retired 20 years ago. It's having impact in the world, impact in your business, the people you hire. Or we got 490 people at Galaxy. Those are 490 people that are paying rent and sending their kids to school, and so that makes you feel good, right? You're giving people job opportunities. You're
Belief in
trying
crypto, right?
Believe in crypto. You're trying to
the-
change the way people think about an asset class.
Yeah.
The money also is money is just energy. It allows you
Yeah.
to invest in other people's businesses, to send kids abroad, to give scholarships, to do all kinds of fun things. And so I also think the moment you stop being curious, the moment you stop working,
Yeah.
you just atrophy.
He says that all the time, and I actually do believe that.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
believe that
really,
too.
really, really believe that. Like, the day you stop, like, I don't think I'll ever stop working no matter what I have.
Like, what would you do if you didn't need money? That's the question I ask myself and ask people when they don't know what to do. Go, well, what'd you do? What would you do if you didn't need money? And whatever that answer is what you should be doing.
That's right.
You're still trying to have impact.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, that's
I
the
mean,
way
it's
my
more
brain works.
selfish for me. I'm not trying to have global impact. I'm trying to feed my art, whatever I want to make, and that's sometimes tattoos. Sometimes that's building things. Sometimes that's helping people. Sometimes that's like I'm gonna hold the door for this mean old lady, you know, so that maybe somebody's nice to her today.
Yeah.
Whatever that is that you're
That's
trying
impact.
to feed.
Again, we were saying the same thing.
Sure,
It's impact.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of it from
You're
a
right.
selfish standpoint.
'Cause artists-
I'm like,
'cause
what do I want from my life is what I'm going to do.
Because artists have a little bit of they need to have a little bit of a selfish gene.
Yeah,
Artists.
I gotta stay in my flow. That's
Yeah.
where I want to
Yeah,
be.
yeah. There's something about flow state too, right? And whether that's having an impact or just flow state, right? How would you like? Is flow state having right? Like what's the name wrote the book Flow?
Yeah,
Who wrote? I forget his name. But is flow state the same as having an impact? I think they're a little different.
No, they're different. I think.
Yeah.
Listen, we all want to be in flow state all the time.
What is
You'll
flow
have a much
state?
bigger.
I
You'll
don't
have a much bigger impact if you're there.
Flow state is the state you're in when you're when Bang
time
Bang
doesn't
is,
exist.
When time doesn't exist, he's in the middle of a tattoo. All he's doing is thinking about that and
When
thinking
LeBron
about,
can't miss.
Yeah, when LeBron can't miss.
Steph
when
Curry.
Steph can't miss.
We were at that game. Steph Curry hit
That's
those
flow.
3 threes.
Yeah.
You literally, when you're in that stadium, right? We were whatever. That wasn't Stade de France, but it was one of the stadiums in Paris. Steph in the last minute and a half bombs 3 threes, and you realized you were like in the moment. You were witnessing greatness, and it just changed the. If that hadn't happened, it would have been a fine game. We all gone home. It's like a great game. Witnessing him hit those 3 threes put chills in you, and you were like, "Wow!"
Yeah, but he was in flow state.
He was in flow
From
state.
an artist standpoint,
Yeah.
it's when you see that artist so deep into their work that they're gone. The world is off.
Yeah.
They're in their mind, they're in their work,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I get it. This guy's crazy. That's why it's so good.
Yeah.
Same thing with musicians, right? You work in
Yeah.
music, and you're like, you see somebody like making a beat at a table, and nothing else in the world exists, and you can just see like that's their state of flow, you know? And artists hate being taken out of that. So anything that breaks that when they're having it is like the end of the world. That's why sometimes you'll see athletes like throw a fit or something, or you'll see artists lose their fucking minds over something. It's like artists only want the tools they need to create. So like you, a builder, when that thing is wrong and somebody hasn't given you the thing you need to do your job, you're like, took you out of your flow. You lose your mind. Like, this is the worst thing in the world that can happen.
right.
Just do what you say you're going to do, and I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody's a little different to what their career is.
Yeah, but I think you said it really well when you're like, if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do? Right? That's pretty profound.
Yeah, if the answer's fishing, you should
be
move
fishing.
somewhere and be a
right.
commercial fisherman.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like whatever that thing is,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, because the flip side of that is too many people do what they really don't want to do for too long, and they think it's going to be one day I'm going to change this, but one day is today, right? That's the bottom line. So if you're not doing something that
That's a
you're
fucking
passionate
ounce
about,
of gold, Dave.
Yeah, if you're not doing something that you love, of course you're going to have moments where you're like, everyone has moments, right? Of, building a business, it's hard. There's those days, like you said, where you got to fill out forms, your permits, a health inspector comes, whatever it might be. But that's just a part of the game, right? But we live for those moments where you're in flow
You know what?
state.
Somebody get that little clip. I'm actually going to tattoo that. You hear it right here, right now, first. That's my tattoo.
Real quick,
He's gonna correct
before we
you,
run
and
out of time,
yeah.
let's
Yeah.
give us each if you just from what you've met about us in this last 45 minutes, if you had to pick a tattoo for each of us, what are we getting?
You're getting a firecracker.
All right, I'm in.
There's like I don't know. I feel like you're getting a wolf tattoo. I don't know why.
Right?
And you are getting some tattoos fixed.
I like it. Huh?
Yeah, that was a previous convo. So I got to dive in already. No,
I'm just let me
teasing.
ask you a
I'm teasing.
question. Why is there not a better way? No one has ever came up with a better way to remove a shitty tattoo outside of this, like getting tattooed 6 more times to remove one tattoo.
Actually,
is there a better way?
It's not impossible. I've seen inks that you can laser away in one shot.
But
it's just like, do they make those commercially available? It's expensive to do that. So, it's a molecular structure issue of the inks.
Somebody need to invent that. Just invent a cream. You'll make a ton of money.
That's not going to happen.
There's something about the permanence.
There's solid particles in your skin. You break them for your immune system to dissolve them. So
Come on.
And there's something about it, right? Like tattoos, like the permanence of it is what makes it, right? If it was just they have these things, other tattoos, and they go away in 6 months, right? It's just not the same, isn't that part of the thing?
I think tattoos in any way people want them are welcome. So somebody wants a tattoo for temporary, like go for it. If you want a sticker out of a gumball machine, like go for it. If you want a big tattoo, go for it. If you want a small one, great.
Have you ever tattooed the wrong thing?
Oh, yeah. Kidding me? Really? Oh, yeah. I've been tattooing for 20 years, bro.
What was like the worst one?
I still mess up tattoos. Being great at tattooing is not how perfect you are. It's how well you can hide your mistakes.
What was like the big mistake?
Which one? I mean, God. Honestly, I move on so quickly past my mistakes, I don't give them a second thought. I could have just made one.
Yeah.
And I ignore it, and I go over here, and I keep working, because there's no point in staying on that. So
The receiver move passes fast.
That's
it's
powerful.
short memory, bro.
It is powerful.
It is.
I lost back. That's already passed. So what's next?
Yeah.
And that's how, when I'm tattooing, if I make a mistake, I don't even worry.
Yeah.
I spelled something wrong on Big Dom. We got enough time for me to tell a story?
Yeah.
Famously, everybody who watches football now knows Big Dom. Big Dom is the Eagles' VP of security who got kicked out of a game. And any of y'all football fans?
Yeah.
All right, so you've heard the story of Big Dom, and they kicked this guy off the sideline, whatever. He's suspended. I tattooed him for years. I've known him for years, and I tattooed him, and he got this Italian family crest, and written in Italian, something that said, and then his last name, and then family written in Italian. And I spelled it wrong. I spelled family in Italian wrong. Because I don't speak Italian, but two, I was working off a reference photo of a coat of arms that was from the 1500s when they used to spell it familia. And now they spell it famiglia.
Wow.
So my reference was old, and I didn't know that one day they changed their spelling of family because it was the same as Spain.
Yeah.
So I spelled. Literally, he's having a panic attack. Sorry, Dom. He's having a panic attack. Bro, can we fix it? I can't have, he's having a moment. And I'm like, bro, it's all good. I got this. And I literally just changed the word in the skin. Didn't have to heal. Didn't have to do nothing. It's perfect. It's flawless. And that could only happen if I don't freak out on how to do it.
Yep.
I know what to do. I know skin. I'm totally comfortable. But that's kind of the same thing in life. I've seen the worst of life. There's worse to come, but that's all good. We'll deal with that.
Yeah,
Love
definitely. That's how you think. That's how I think. That's how you. Right? It's when you gotta put it in the past,
and deal with your reality.
Deal with your reality, and like, what am I doing moving forward?
Why
right? You gotta
it's there?
shift that.
It's just there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that will get caught up in that, right? Caught up in that mistake, and then you can't move forward from it. So it's
You have to be a little
metaphor.
emotionless. You have to be, like just don't make decisions with emotion.
Yeah.
So what do I have to do here? Okay, here's the problem. How do I fix that? Just be very practical.
What are you excited about with your business going forward? Like, what do you?
Man,
yeah, what do you?
we're doing a lot. Yeah.
What are some of the things you're doing?
First off, skincare. So kind of bridging tattooing into beauty.
All right.
So
That's pretty dope.
yeah, it's we've been working on it for years. I'm going to launch that by the end of this year. And then skin technology. So we make this kind of crazy nanoparticle that's a tattoo ink that's like smart tattoo ink that actually you can control your tattoo. So you can turn your tattoo on, you can turn your tattoo off, and you even change the picture inside your skin.
Wait,
like
what?
instantly,
I love that.
painlessly.
That's crazy.
Instantly, painlessly, like 100 times in a day. It's crazy. It's called Magic Ink, and it's light reactive. So if you give it a certain light, you could activate the tattoo. Give it a different light, you could deactivate your tattoo. But also,
That's nuts.
in a patch of skin, you could change the picture. So you have like mom one day, dad another day. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So like a lot of people haven't
Hope
seen
we
it
got a
yet.
patent to that.
Yeah, we got several.
Yeah, because
So, and then we make other technologies for skin, things that are meant to help people. So, prevent cancers and, prevent premature aging from the sun, things like that. So it's like a kind of company's called Hyperskin. It's all skin technology focused. And then clothing, we recently dropped some clothing, a few other things that are, we're working on always. But I really like to work because I really like my work. I love the creative process. Obviously, there's like stuff about anybody's work that you're like, God, I wish I didn't have to do this part. But I love the challenge.
I'm going to give you a great idea because shout out to my son Christian. My son who got that tattoo at 16. Now I don't know. He's got like 15 tattoos, and he's got great tattoos. He doesn't.
Some from Bang Bang.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
Let's
plenty.
go.
Yeah.
So he found someone online to make a sweatshirt, a hoodie, where every one of his tattoos they stitched it.
Fun.
And so he wears this sweatshirt. It's got all his tattoos on the sweatshirt. Then he takes the shirt off and boom, boom,
same
boom,
thing.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is dope.
Great little.
I want to find that.
You can steal that business idea. Send him a few shekels.
How often do you still do tattoos yourself?
It varies based on my kid's schedule,
Yeah.
and,
regularly.
I tattoo here and there. Yeah, if there's an idea that's great, especially with somebody I know, like I try not to book myself like far.
Yeah.
I'm not like booked for 3 years or 5 years. It could take that long for somebody if our schedules don't overlap. But like my appointments in my book are like 2 months. Like, I don't want. When I'm through there, I'll call you and we'll give you dates. That date will be in a week or two. Like whenever you're in line, I'll hit you up and we'll get you in. But I can't commit myself to a year of schedule. Like I don't know how I'm gonna feel in August. I might feel like I need to be on the beach. I might feel like I need to be creating art. Like I don't know. So if I can't give you all of me, I'm not tattooing.
Right.
So like if I've got too much stuff going on, or I'm working on too many other things, or there's like some kind of crisis I'm working with, like I'm not tattooing. Like I've got to be good, and everybody on my team knows, like, don't bother me. Don't bother me with nothing while I'm tattooing. Like, just let me give this person 100% of myself. It's the only way. I'm competing with younger, more talented, more hungrier me. So like people expect a quality that I did years ago when I was younger. So like that's hard to compete with. So now I have to make better decisions than that younger artist did. Right? So I've got to be better. I've got to be smarter. I've got to give people everything I've got.
Man, you've been dropping some great wisdom here this whole time, and it's been great to have this conversation. But at the end of our session, we always ask somebody to leave our audience with an ounce of gold. So it's kind of like you're wrapping it up like what you want to leave somebody with, your little pearls of wisdom. And as part of that, we give you an actual ounce of gold over there.
Oh,
so,
that's cool.
Mike, do your gold spiel.
That's true. JM Bullion. We have one sponsor. They called us out of nowhere. We love JM Bullion. They're the number one retail seller of gold in America. That's a JM Bullion coin. Pretty soon we're going to get Business Untitled coins. Gold's now $2,400 an ounce. I think that's going to $3,000. So don't save it. Don't spend it yet.
I've been collecting these since
Oh,
I
no
was
way.
18 years old.
All right.
Yeah, so
collect
I
them,
appreciate
too.
that. I'll never
He's a
forget it.
JM Boyden customer. He finally got one.
Yeah, I guess my ounce of gold is like, maybe it's cliche, but just be the change you want to see in the world. So that's small. That's every day. That's like, getting up and looking in the mirror and competing with your expectation of yourself. Not competing with anybody else. There's nobody else to beat out there. No, there's no win, loss. It's just competing with your expectation of self. So like, do that every day, and start again. So every day, do it again. So that's what I try to do. And I remember more than I forget. So
I love that.
Thank you, man. This was great.
Well, thank you. Really grateful for you coming on, fellas.
thanks for
Good
having
to
me.
be back.
I got 9 tattoos. I'm going to have 10 pretty
Business
soon.
Untitled. Follow, like, send us your comments. Sign off till another week.
Boom.